It's the season of giving and doing good, right? Then let me be completely honest. I've tried pretty much every Better Health meal kit you can think of, and none have ever really worked for me. That is until I partnered with Factor. Don't bust your belt this bustling holiday season. Eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door with Factor. They're dietitian-approved, meaning the diet doesn't have to take a break while Santa and those usually irresistible Christmas cookies roll into town. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Meal options include Calorie Smart, Vegan and Veggie, and Protein Plus. So give Factor a try today and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. The website is factormeals.com/TOC50, Talk of Champions 50, TOC50. And make sure to use code TOC50 to get 50% off your first order. That's code TOC50 at factormeals.com/TOC50 to get 50% off. Keep Christmas and dinner time merry with Factor, a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network.
It's that time of year where the weather outside can be frightful, and frightful weather can do real damage to your roof. If you're looking for peace of mind this holiday season, knowing that your roof is taken care of, contact Riverland Roofing. Whether you need an inspection, a new roof, or a maintenance program, Riverland Roofing has you covered, home or business. They're a GAF Master Elite Contractor and can offer warranties that last a lifetime. Licensed and insured, Riverland services Mississippi and its surrounding states. Don't worry about the roof over your head this holiday season. Contact Riverland Roofing today. 662-644-4297. That's 662-644-4297. Or visit riverlandroofing.com. Riverlandroofing.com. Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs and a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network. Welcome into a Friday edition of Hashtag Not Committed. It's the Ole Miss Spirits recruiting show with me, Ben Garrett, and him, Zach Berry, Zach_Berry on Twitter. I'm at Spirit Ben. Right now, if you sign up for the Ole Miss Spirit for a sub, you can get it for as low as $1. Or if you want to sign up for an annual and hang out with us for a year, you can get it half off because it's a special portal price and sign-up promotion for right now. Because for Ole Miss football, the portal, it's hot. Ole Miss landed Key Lawrence, the Oklahoma safety transfer. And next could be on commit watch, has been on commit watch. We think it's going to happen. I have heard nothing different. Florida Edge, Prince Umanmielen. And yes, I know how to pronounce it now. I've been practicing. Hey, Zach.
Hello, good afternoon. The portal is portaling, as they say. Big-time visitors on campus. Like you said, Princely Umanmielen. At some point is going to happen. Got late into the evening last night, and the business that we're in, I'm thinking of SEO impact, clicks, views, sessions, all of that stuff. I feel like that goes into a lot of these portal guys and recruits announcements where it's like, hey, sometimes guys will do it like at midnight, or we'll see it in the next couple of weeks. There will be dudes that will announce on Christmas Day or do a top schools list on Christmas Eve. That
Chris
sort of
Marshall
thing.
Announced last year on Christmas Day and didn't even make it to summer.
Yeah. We had like Damon Williams last year, did some things around the holidays.
Your favorite Christmas time commitment. I got mine. Carlton Martin. Big show. Mary, and the title in the Spirit that day, back when we were with Scout. Yeah, back when we were with Scout, it said, Merry Christmas. Yancey wrote it. Merry Christmas from Carlton Martin. That was the only gift, unfortunately, he would give Ole Miss over his career. But, yes, it's going to happen. Commitment watch is still in play, and nothing's really changing that way. But some tough news for Ole Miss on Thursday night. Keywan Lacey, the 4-star running back from Texas, chose Missouri over Ole Miss and Alabama. And it seemed like Ole Miss was trending. All sourcing indicated that. What happened?
I think it got to a point with NIL that Missouri just made a move late, and it was too much for Ole Miss to overcome. I don't really think that there's any other explanation, and there's no sense in playing coy or beating around the bush or using metaphors or not just coming out and saying it. It's 2023, NIL is the forefront of college football recruiting in college football. I think that's all it was. Ole Miss was the overwhelming favorite for what seemed to be the last month, at least the last couple of weeks. Sam Spiegelman, I talked with him several times. He just, hey, Ole Miss is coming on strong. They have been in communication with him pretty much the entire cycle. They never wavered when he committed to Nebraska. They stayed with him. Alabama kind of bucked its head a little bit and looked like the Crimson Tide might be coming in to snag him away from Ole Miss. And Ole Miss fought back, gave a good, counter punch, and it looked like it was all Ole Miss. We were set and ready to go. Didn't have like a live announcement type setup, but said it was going to be at 6. And I don't think he officially announced it, or I don't think it officially broke until like 6:15 or so.
And no, I was not at the announcement. That was weird. Zach, you texted me the other day, like, hey, are you going to Keywan Lacey's announcement? I don't know where that came from, but no, I was never going. Here's the thing about
I was thinking like maybe the Cowboys are playing at home this weekend.
Yeah,
and maybe. And then I was like, well, I'll just text him and ask him.
Yeah, don't look at this. Don't be fooled by this. I'm a Cowboys fan. The Bears just have really cool colors and logos.
Is that a shout out to Brad?
A little bit, yeah. Maybe more subtle because it's not really subtle. So it'd be more unintentional than anything else. Yes, this is because Brad played for the Bears. That's what we remember.
Maybe you're a huge fan of special teams and you love Devin Hester.
I did love Devin Hester, and I saw him return a kickoff for a touchdown in a Super Bowl live.
Oh yeah, you're a Rex Grossman stan.
Hey, I was there at Ole Miss and rushed the field after Ole Miss beat Rex Grossman in Florida in 2003. So, yeah,
I didn't rush the field. I was there, though.
I rushed the field. I was among those that rushed the field. But the thing about Keywan Lacey that I think has stuck out to me, because I've had a couple of days to stew, well, not a couple of days, but a day to really stew on it. I think the momentum for Missouri, we didn't have a podcast yesterday. I was supposed to do one with Thomas Dillard. Something came up. He couldn't do it, so he'll do it next week. So no podcast yesterday. He didn't get to really touch on it as it was happening, but there was some momentum, some things we were hearing about Missouri, which for me, when I heard it, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't track with anything I've been hearing. And then he ends up going to Missouri. NIL is the great equalizer. It only takes one team, to really, really like you and decide that you are that guy for them and make it happen. And it can change, yes, that quickly. It sounds like an excuse, and I guess it is in a way, but also it is the reality that all of this is constantly in flux. It is a day-to-day procedural thing. And as long as things are trending the right way, like if you get a kid on campus for a visit and then he cancels another visit, but even then, like with Juice Wells was on campus last week for an official visit, the South Carolina wide receiver transfer, and he canceled Texas. It was all sourcing saying, yeah, this is happening. It's just a matter of when. Well, then the evaluation changes. So for Ole Miss, and I think for Ole Miss right now with Juice, it's just, is he going to be the Juice Wells or as close to Juice Wells pre-injury than the guy who was slowed and hadn't played since September, October? But I bring that up because in the age of NIL, the great equalizer, you have to make these kind of decisions too. I mean, I think Ole Miss, if it really wanted to, could have matched whatever Missouri offered to Keywan Lacey. However, they have the SEC rushing leader returning for his third season. He broke a single season school record as a freshman. They have Kedrick Riscano, who was a top 150 player in last year's class that they really like. Ulysses Bentley is coming back. It was more, it was not a need for them to land Keywan Lacey. Still surprising because up until 2 days ago, Missouri. But hey, give it to Eli Drinkwitz and coming. So Ole Miss had to make a decision. They had to decide, all right, do we want to match that? Or do we look at the room? It's the allocation of dollars and spending it wisely. And you heard Walker Jones talk about that on this podcast or on this podcast network with me on the flagship on Wednesday. It's not always about just paying them. They're not going around just paying the most money to everybody. It's a targeted approach, and they have to trust their own evaluations, and they can't go splurging for a fourth running back if the number goes up, which can happen with NIL. So I do think that's the greatest culprit.
Especially if Ulysses Bentley comes back.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest culprit is just, the money from somewhere else. They made it more of a priority, and Ole Miss decided, well, Are we spending our money wisely in that way
Yeah.
if we go to that number at that position with what we already have? So it was a bummer, and no one bats 1,000. We missed that one because all the sourcing led there. But before that, it was all good news all the time. Princely Uman Minyelin is coming to Ole Miss at some point. He's going to commit, but I've heard Georgia's got a little bit of an eye on him. We'll see if they really play for him. Has anything in your mind as far as what Ole Miss is on the verge of accomplishing in the portal changed at all? I think we're still kind of in the same place of where we thought they were last week. I know that, again, missing Kewan Lacey is a big deal, or it's a deal, but Key Lawrence happens, that pops. And sometimes you got to have patience, but also understand that, this stuff is fluid too.
Sure. And with Hugh and Lacey, I think both things can be true. I think Ole Miss could be allocating resources elsewhere for defensive prospects in the portal. They've got two big ones on campus right now. They've got an offensive line prospect in high school that they really want to flip, in Kavian Broussard, who we reported yesterday is officially visiting this weekend. But
Committed
yeah,
to
also,
Miami.
yeah, committed to Miami. But also, Ole Miss just got beat. I think that's fine to admit too. They
It
wanted
happens.
Kewan Lacey and outbid Missouri, pushed it, and Ole Miss. I don't know for a fact if they moved on or if they
Well,
threw in
think
the
about it this
towel,
way.
but
Think
yeah,
about
I
it this
mean,
way.
both can be true.
What happened in Major League Baseball recently? Shohei signs with the Dodgers. $680 million deferred. We're all up in arms that didn't get him. Like, what the hell? The Braves would have offered the exact same thing. The Giants offered the exact same thing, and he chose the Dodgers. I'm not saying that Ole Miss matched what Missouri was offering, and it wasn't $680 million deferred. But I am saying that if you wondered the business of this business now, it is very much a professionally run kind of organizational. Yeah, you make your decisions based on the balance sheet, right?
Yeah.
Less about splurging just to go get one because you can. They have real needs, especially on defense, and not that necessarily Kewan Lacey and the money allocated for him was going to prevent them from doing those things, but they had to make a decision, and they did. My question now is, for the weekend coming
I
up, it's a huge weekend. What are you most paying attention to? What's the thing or player or prospects that Ole Miss fans need to be paying attention to? Could be on commitment watch, the biggest names of the weekend.
Yeah, and just to close the book on Lacey, again, Ole Miss can get beat, but also could be looking to, kind of shuffle the board a bit. I haven't spoken with anybody on staff, but I think it's safe to say that Kevin Smith, Enrique Davis, Kelvin Bolden, I mean, they're bummed. Lane Kiffin, they wanted Kewan Lacey. They all went to watch him play his last high school game. Um, it happens. Missouri is kind of in the same boat with Ole Miss right now. They're kind of in that, golden era of modern football for their program right now. They're 10-2. They got a ton of momentum. They got a coach that's winning at a high level. They're recruiting at a high level. And look, I mean, maybe the running back room just looks a little more fruitful there for Kewan Lacey with, Schrader leaving and, maybe a little more opportunity to get on the field earlier. I think most people expect Quinshon Judkins back for a third year. You mentioned Kedrick Riscano. The staff loves him. That was a huge win for the staff last year. And even more so, I think it really got kind of lost in the shuffle with Blackwell leaving to go to Texas A&M and Ole Miss was still able to keep him and sign him. Just a testament to the program, what Lane Kiffin has built, and kind of the reputation of their offense, where it's like, hey, man, we loved him. We hired him for a reason. We thought he was a great coach. He's gone, but you're still going to get here. You're still going to be successful and put in position to get to the NFL. I think that was a big thing that not many people acknowledged. But yeah, it's a bummer. I imagine the staff was pretty upset. They're probably a little angry. But hey, it's recruiting. You don't win them all, and you got to move on. So I think this weekend is huge. Right now, you've got Tamari McDonald, Tyler Barron, two Tennessee guys are on campus. I talked with Tamari McDonald's high school coach the last couple of days. Says he really likes Lane Kiffin. They're obviously familiar with each other. Kiffin recruited him in his first class when he got the job at Ole Miss. They wanted him. Really talented linebacker coming out of Whitehaven High School in Memphis. Got to Tennessee, settled in at safety, that star position, that hybrid safety role that has basically just become kind of one of the bigger positions of need for people at the Power 5 level, with the offenses being so spread out. Use the entire width of the field. You got to have dudes that can run and be physical at the line of scrimmage. He fits that role perfectly. Played a lot of football at Tennessee. Played a lot for a defense that was much improved this year. Made a lot of tackles. They would love to add him to that secondary class. It's already got Key Lawrence. You got Taz Nicholson. And then you have a legitimate shot at bringing back the dudes that played on a top 25 SP plus defense this year. DeAndre Prince and Amari Walton are gone, but I would imagine that the Grove Collective is working on keeping John Saunders and Deshaun Gaddy in Oxford to continue to build an experienced back end. Tyler Barron, I know he's tight with Tamarion McDonald. He's tight with Key Lawrence. They're all Tennessee guys. Key Lawrence is from Nashville, played at Innsworth, and Barron's from Knoxville, played at Knoxville Catholic, and then I already mentioned McDonald's from Memphis. They're all familiar with each other. But still some, I would guess, don't hold me to it. I would love to be wrong here and for Ole Miss to snag him and everybody get fired up over the weekend. I think Tyler Barron will probably take more visits. You've got Alabama. I've heard they're the team to beat. Georgia is in the mix. Louisville. I heard Vanderbilt. I don't really buy that. But yeah, maybe he shuts it down and Ole Miss gets a big one this weekend. But yeah, they're getting him on campus. He arrived yesterday. They'll finish up everything today and do all their exit interviews and negotiation stuff with the Grove Collective, and they'll move on. So, but I think Tamarion McDonald is one that you could see Ole Miss make a real run at to get. Again, I just think the way that this staff operates and the way Pete Golding has built this defense, he loves the idea of having experienced guys on your defense. And, sure, I'm sure you're probably saying, well, duh, you don't want a bunch of, green freshmen out there. But I think that just helps the overall health of the locker room, the camaraderie, the culture of the program, when you've got dudes that have been there, done that, and especially in the SEC. So McDonald, for sure, I would keep an eye on. And then Tyler Barron, probably going to take more visits.
That's the perfect place then to play a long overdue round of buy or sell. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Idiots! Get back in there at once and sell!
Here we go. Buy or sell. Juice Wells is now taking the transfer South Carolina wide receiver, is now taking visits to Texas and I think Oregon. He came to Ole Miss last weekend, canceled the Texas visit. It seemed as if Ole Miss was on the verge. Sourcing said Ole Miss was on the verge. Buy or sell, if Juice Wells isn't an Ole Miss Rebel, they'll just they'll stand pat. They'll stand pat at wide receiver at least till the first of the year.
I could see that, especially with the news of Watkins and Trey Harris coming back, and you add Deion Smith, and they're going to sign Norrell White out of high school. I could see them sitting and waiting and see who else gets in the portal after the playoff games. But yeah, I think with the returning guys, and then you get Deion Smith, who I think the staff believes is a day one guy. It's not as big of a pressing matter that it was initially. So I could see them make a run at one guy, but it seems like the emphasis is being put on the trenches and defense specifically. So yeah, they could just either, hey, we're going to shoot our shot at one elite dude that we think fits the offense, or we just don't take one. And now I don't know if it's good or bad with Juice Wells. I've heard numerous things. I've heard he's basically mulling everything over. He's trying to decide. I've heard rumors of him maybe going back to South Carolina, which I'll believe that when I see it. He didn't leave on a great note there. I don't know. I mean, Shane Beamer would take him back. I mean, he's an elite receiver, but there's also the concerns about the foot. I mean, how healthy is the foot? Like, is he going to be the same guy he was in 2022 when he had close to 1,000 yards receiving and was a game changer. And that's sure it's probably a concern for Ole Miss, especially with what happened with, Zachary Franklin. You had the knee injury, you had the scope, and it didn't respond well. So there's a risk. It's a high risk, high reward type business with recruiting, and then especially with portal guys, where you put them through a physical, you evaluate them physically to make sure the investment is going to return a positive ROI. So I don't, the people that I've talked to at On3 and at other sites and other sources, they don't really know what Juice Wells is doing. I think Ole Miss made a pretty competitive offer and they feel pretty good about where they sit with him, but now it's just kind of Juice's, it's in his hands. He's got to decide what he wants to do.
Ole Miss got a commitment this week, as expected, from Southern Miss offensive lineman Jaquan Scott. What's the latest with Carter Smith, the Indiana transfer who visited last weekend, the transfer tackle, I should say, that visited Ole Miss last weekend? What do we know?
So
Last
this week
I heard, it was Florida State or Ole Miss. He visited Florida State, and he'd make a decision after that. Is that all it is?
I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. He announced he was staying at Indiana.
Oh, we got a room? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my. What?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
I literally, in real time, as I'm reading the hot list, just removed him. This portal stuff is crazy, man. Well, it leads perfectly to my next buy or sell question. I was going to say maybe Carter Smith is close. I hadn't heard anything about him since he left. There are not a lot of candidates on our hot list right now. That doesn't really mean much. Fernando Carmona from San Jose State was someone Ole Miss offered very early on in the portal process. I reached out to him, talked to me briefly. I just haven't heard anything pressing on him. So buy or sell with Jaquan Scott in the fold, knowing that offensive line is their biggest need position. They're getting Micah Pettis back. They expect to get Caleb Warren and Jeremy James back. Jaden Williams will be back. They do have bodies. It was an underperforming year for the offensive line as a whole. Buy or sell over 2.5 added through the portal. 2.5. Buy or sell.
Oh, 2.5.
Over 2.5.
Yeah, the hook is big there. I'd say sell. I mean, I think that they would possibly get one more. I do think they're going to get Kavian Broussard, the high school prospect. I think Ole Miss will eventually flip him. I don't know if it'll be this weekend or just on signing day, but yeah, 2.5. I would say sell. The hook is big. They could get 2, because I do think there's going to be another influx of portal prospects. Maybe a second or third. I don't know what wave we're on now, but there'll be another group of big time prospects, middle tier prospects, whatever you want to call it, dudes that they're going to evaluate and try to get on campus for visits. Yeah, I would sell.
All right, buy or sell. Ole Miss sweeps Princely, Uman Minyelin, Walter Nolen, and Tyler Barron transfers on the defensive line. They've offered every single one of them. Princely has already visited. We've mentioned it multiple times. We're on commitment watch for him. Walter Nolen's coming in. He's in today. This is Friday, December 15th, 2023. He's coming in today, and he will be here for the weekend. And then Tyler Barron's coming in this weekend. It's a huge weekend, so buy or sell. Stop smirking. Ole Miss sweeps the big defensive line 3.
Yeah, probably the one thing that I would love to be wrong about, because man, that would really make our job fun if they swept. But no, they're not getting all 3. I would say 2 out of 3.
Okay. Who do you think's most likely? Rank choice them.
Umami Ellen and Walter Nolen.
Mm-hmm.
Barron's going to still take visits. So, I mean, sure, they could pivot if Walter Nolen comes in and says no thanks, or, I'm going to go somewhere else. And, I don't think, from all indications from people who have talked with Walter Nolen's father and people around him, it seems like he's wanting to get a decision made sooner rather than later. He wants to get to work and start preparing.
Then that plays to Ole Miss's benefit then.
Yeah. Because he's already been to Oregon. He didn't commit. He left. I mean, this is his draft year. I mean, this is his year. Like, this is where you pick where you want to go. You go off and then you get drafted. So I think he's wanting to, as much of a circus as his high school recruitment was, I think this is all business where it's like, I don't care. Like, let's let's get a deal. Let's get to work. So I don't see that one getting too far down the line. Again, could be wrong. Because at the end of the day, he's, 19, 20 years old, and Lord knows what I was doing when I was 19 and 20. But yeah, I think he's wanting to get it done and start working, get on campus, start, getting in the weight room, getting with the staff, getting with, his future teammates, all that. Yeah, I would say Umami Ellen and Walter Nolen are the most likely, just because Tyler Barron is going to have more suitors, and all signs point to him indicating he wants to take more visits.
Buy or sell, UCF cornerback Corey Thornton, outside of Princely Umanmielen, is the next closest to committing to Ole Miss. He's already visited. He's one I wrote about immediately when he got into the portal. It's a name that we first reported on the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of On3. Sign up today for $1. Or if you want to hang out with us for a year, you can get an annual sub for half off. It's like $50 right now for the full year. And we just talk about this stuff and write and talk and laugh and joke about this stuff all day, every day. All right. So Corey Thornton was a name that we reported, the UCF cornerback. Do you think, buy or sell, that he is the closest, next closest after Princely to possibly becoming an Ole Miss Rebel?
It's interesting. He is a different position, cornerback, and Tamari McDonald is a safety, star linebacker type position. I do know that Corey Thornton is visiting Penn State this weekend. So he is going to go somewhere else to see what else is out there. I know Ole Miss likes him because you reported it before he entered the portal that Ole Miss was interested. So
if he got in, I meant to say as my mic was muted, if he got in, I didn't know if he was going to get in. I didn't know. It's like the Walter White Breaking Bad. It's the Walker White. You got me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ole Miss definitely, that sort of thing, conversations happening before entering the portal officially, then you visit pretty quickly after. It seems pretty obvious that Ole Miss is definitely interested in wanting to land him. But yeah, he's going to Penn State this weekend, so we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be like a first come first serve with him and Tamari McDonald, just numbers wise in the secondary, because I do think there is some position versatility in that room. So Golden can shuffle guys around. So it isn't like we have to get a safety, we have to get a corner. They recruit guys that are versatile for a reason, so they don't have to worry about that.
Who all's coming in this weekend? Do we have the list yet?
So it's everybody that we've already talked about. So the two Tennessee guys that are there right now, Broussard and Shamar Darden, the Ole Miss commit from Tupelo, is in town. So that is
and Walter Nolen.
And Walter Nolen, yeah.
That little guy named Walter Nolen. Don't forget about that little guy. Buy or sell, Ole Miss lands a commitment before the weekend is out from one of these visitors.
I buy that.
Ooh.
One of the portal or high school kids will happen.
All right.
Maybe two commitments. How about that? Bold take.
Buy or sell, Princely Umanmielen popping before one of these visitors pop.
I'd say yeah.
So you buy that too?
All right. I would say typically the high school dudes will do the full weekend and then make a decision before they leave or after they leave, Sunday evening. Honestly, if you pin me down, I would say Umanmielen right now is probably just waiting on an edit or a video to be done.
That's it for buy or sell. Another riveting round of buy or sell. The Ole Miss football schedule before we get out of here came out this week officially, the Egg Bowl. Now, the official announcement said it was going to be on a Saturday. But if you go to the Ole Miss Spirit, you'll read from Keith Carter, who told Jake Thompson that has not been decided yet. That'll be decided after the first of the year. Everybody knows where I stand, I think. I hate the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving. If the Egg Bowl can stay on Saturday with this schedule, I'm telling you, it's setting up. Somebody was picking the games the other day, and they put at LSU as a loss. How can you in good conscience put LSU as a loss right now? They're replacing Jaden Daniels.
And they have done nothing in the portal.
Nothing. They still haven't figured it out. Defensively, they have SEMO transfers starting at LSU and wondering why they're giving up 50 to Ole Miss and a loss by 4. Georgia's at home. There is not a game on that schedule that you look at and you say, oh, yeah, Ole Miss can't win that game. Georgia's at home, and Alabama's not on the schedule. All we need is for
Neither is
the
Auburn.
Mississippi State annual shitfest to not be on Thanksgiving night.
Perfect setup, barring an injury to a big-time contributor, 9-3, 10-2 at the very least. I think home against Georgia's big, home against Oklahoma's big. I think you win. I think Ole Miss wins one of those. And yeah, sure, in Death Valley against LSU, but no Jaden Daniels. Without Jaden Daniels, what's the score of the LSU Ole Miss game this year?
55-28.
I know that's not,
Not how
you
it
don't
works.
play it. You don't play that game. Yeah, that's not how it works. But yeah, who's going to be the quarterback for LSU?
At Florida, November 23rd could be kind of tricky as I'm looking at it and interrupting you. It could be.
Maybe late in the year, how's Florida look at that point? Are they on
Have they
quit
moved-
watch? Have they figured
moved
it
on?
out?
Have they fired midseason Billy Napier?
Yeah.
It's almost the perfect schedule if only State could be on Saturday. And I saw on Twitter, I can't remember who said it. When they saw that the announced time for Mississippi State was on Saturday, they said, wait a second, that means it's probably going to be an 11 a.m. game, and that game deserves better than 11 a.m. It deserves prime time. I disagree. That game at 11 a.m., it's the most quintessential 11 a.m. game ever because Ole Miss doesn't think about little brother anymore. I'm just saying.
So 2025 playoff games. First round on campus,
Okay.
quarterfinals, Fiesta Bowl, Peach Bowl, semifinals, Capital One, Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl. Also Rose Bowl. So you got Peach Bowl, Rose, Sugar, quarterfinals with Fiesta. So they're all like broken up in different days. So yeah, we could do a live podcast with the San Gabriel Mountains behind us. That'd be bucket list. We could be there. Like I could be wearing my Jeff Lebowski cardigan. We could have some Ralphs.
What do we do if Ole Miss wins a title? It's always been completely theoretical. If Ole Miss wins the national championship in football, we saw it in baseball, and that was surreal enough.
I'm trying to think of what we could burn and then put it in a Folgers can and go to the Pacific Ocean. And
you're definitely big Lebowski things today. You're really feeling yourself.
Yeah.
That would make me your John Goodman. And let's be honest, that kind of tracks. This has been another edition of #NotCommitted. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. He's Zach Berry at Zach_Berry. We both write for the Ole Miss Spirit. That's omspirit.com, an affiliate of On3. And if you sign up today, you can get a sub for as low as $1 or an annual for half off the original price. It's $50 for a full year of all Ole Miss all the time. And right now it's just portal, and more portal, even though we talked a little bit of schedule stuff. And Ole Miss has got a big visit weekend coming up this weekend with a bunch of transfers and a very coveted Flip high school target coming on campus as well.
Just decommitted.
Just decommitted from Miami.
There you go.
He'll be on campus as well. So full coverage of that on the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On3. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, review Talk of Champions, our podcast network, and iTunes. Wherever you get your podcast, just simply search Talk of Champions, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, like I said, Amazon Music, and leave a 5-star review. It doesn't matter what you say, as long as it's 5 stars. Thank you, my friend. I'll see you out there this weekend.
All right, buddy. Have a good weekend.